Hi, thanks for watching my video on how to change a motorcycle tire. Today, specifically a dirt bike tire. We're going to get right into it. I've got some pro tips. I've watched a lot of the other videos, and I think I can add to it. I think I can add to some of that content. So we're just going to get right into it. So we're going to take the valves, take the valve cap off, take the retaining nut off. Going to loosen up the rim lock. Get that nut right out to the end. I kind of like to leave the nut and washer on there for a minute while I'm doing this. Okay, we're going to remove valve core. And I'm not going to lose it into my barrel. Okay, got that. Sometimes I'll even leave the retaining nut on the valve stem, so that doesn't jump inside the tire, inside the rim while we're trying to break the bead. Okay, so here's pro tip right off the bat. A lot of times the rim lock is stuck. It doesn't just push out. You need that out of the way straight away. I grab my tire iron, I come over, put my body against it, push that back. Boom. Another reason to leave the nut on so you don't push it inside the rim. Same thing, valve stem. You want that pushed back all the way against the rim, but not inside the wheel tire assembly. So then you got to bust the bead. A lot of times all I'll do is I'll rotate it away from the valve stem and the rim lock, and I'll get underneath that dude. So I'm pulling towards myself. Get underneath it like that, push down, pull back, push down, same thing, boom, there it is. Start with your disc side up, especially when you're peeling the tire, so that you don't shank your freaking knuckles on the sprocket. Also be careful you don't drop your wheel spacers out. And this is a good time to take those out and put some grease in behind your seals also. Rotate that. Same thing. Pop it off the bead. If it doesn't just jump right off, get in there, your tire iron, pull back. Get the tip of your arm down in the drop center, pull back, push down. That'll dislodge the bead down into the drop center. So because you got all this thick valve stem and rim lock kind of in your way, in order to peel this tire off, you really need it down in the drop center. So again, I'm going to rotate it. So I'm start peeling with the disc side up, and I'm going to bring the valve stem and the rim lock towards me, or away from me, and that's where I'm going to start, is in that general area. And then so let's get right at it. And you're being careful, watching in there, making sure you're not getting any tubes. So you've got on it right now. Now, come back here, another pro tip, push down, kind of as you pull this back, push down, and you're gently easing that. You can feel it drop as you tension this. You can feel it drop into the drop center. This makes it way easier. It's key. And it's helpful if you can get the bottom in too, but not totally necessary. So you get a little bit, you're kind of watching in there, making sure you don't got some tube. Same thing, probably stay away from your valve stem right here. Come in, get another little bite, kind of holding this one back, making sure you're not getting some tube, you're looking in there, tube's not moving, you're not pinching it, boom. Checking, you're your beads down in the drop center of the rim. Kind of peel this dude out. Get another little bite. You can also tuck that underneath your disc, peel out. Maybe I come back towards the valve stem a little bit. Gently. A little tight. We're good. Peel that back, boom. Okay, we're almost home free now. Oh yeah, coming right along. Okay, now we're right at the rim lock. Okay, boom. Kind of massage that up. Okay, set these aside. Okay, now this is a good time if you got a wedding ring. I take my wedding ring off. I see guys pop both sides and put the whole rim inside the tire and just pull it out. That's pretty decent, but I've never done that. I've also seen them assemble it with the tube already in the tire. That's not how I roll. Okay, so take nut and washer off for the rim lock. So I pull back, reach in, push that rim lock towards the outside of the tire. And this is a little bit of a bugger, but here it is. Always check these. They start to delam from the aluminum. If you got one that's all crusty and it's delambing, well, I've actually salvaged these with grip glue, put them in a vise, put grip glue, clean the heck out of it, put grip glue in there, sandwich it in the vise. You get a couple more uses out of it. I'm cheap that way. So there's that. Okay, valve stem, take my nut off the valve stem. Reach in, push that valve stem through the hole in the rim. Pull that dude out. I always have a rag on hand when I do this, because there's always a bunch of junk on my tube, bunch of junk. So I kind of give that a little wipe down, make sure there's no junk on it. Inspect your tube. Move back in position so you can see me. Thank you. So yeah, check your tube. Make sure there's no junk on it, no dirt or anything. There's like some little rubber marbles from chafing. Any little marbles, try to get those off. Look it over. Check around your valve stem. If you got like this is starting to rust around here, clean that up. I've got like you use a toothbrush or some Scotch-Brite, or I've got a brass or a copper wire brush here, pretty gentle. I just kind of go around that dude gently. You don't want to score your tube at all. You just want to clean the dirt around that guy. Wipe, get all the chunks off. Okay, we'll set that aside. Maybe also, let me step out here. Maybe make a little mark which hole the rim lock went in and which hole the valve stem came out of. Before you get, okay, valve stem, boom. Okay, so now I turn it over. And for me, this is how I do it. I just turn it over and I just get under it with the tire iron. Maybe have my other one handy. They generally jump off pretty easy. Make sure that your rim, or that your tire, the bead of the tire is in the drop center. And then you just get under that dude. kind of take little bites. Whoops. Well, it generally peels off pretty easy. You know, it helps to put a little soap on these too. Let me roll this out of the way. Get over the edge of that and peel that dude off. Boom. Okay, that's about ready to jump off there now. Lift that off there, get it out of my way so I'm not stumbling on it. Okay. Now, got your rim. Make sure. So I don't have a rubber spoke guard on there. I've actually used some real high quality electrical tape and a little layer of duct tape underneath that, so it makes it easier to assemble it. Always wipe this. Always check. Make sure no spokes are poking through. If you got a rubber band here, take the rubber band off, clean it. If you got dirt around your spoke nipples, get in there with a wire brush. If you got dirt around your spoke nipples, wire brush. Get that really clean. And that looks pretty dang good, really. Okay, new tire. So I'm putting a takeoff on here. It's another golden tire. Oh, it's a 19. Okay, this is just a tire change video. So I'm going to use this tire again. I'm just going to rotate it. Give me a sharp edge. I basically just got to get through an enduro this weekend. So let me see. It goes... Think about this. Goes this way. That's my digger edge. It's going back on just like that. So take your rag, clean in there, make sure that there's no junk in there. Well, it should be easy to go back on because it just came right off. So is that right? Yeah, it goes that way. Sharp edges there. Ah, yeah, that'll get me through the weekend. It's gravelly where we're going, so it should be okay. So what I do is I got a little soap here, pretty heavy soap, you know, so it's pretty slippery between your fingers. Actually, I'm jumping the gun. So what I do is make sure there's nothing in your tire, no sand, no junk. Put some baby powder in there. Kind of roll that around in there. Get that baby powder all through there. Drop the tire on its side a couple times. That migrates it to the sidewalls. Boom, that's nicely coated in baby powder. Now, if you've got a rubber band here, take that rubber band off, put a pile of baby powder in your hand, do the same thing, run that rubber band through there. Get it on rubber band also. So now you grab my tube. Same thing. Got that baby powder in my hand. I get it inside the tube. Yeah, it smells nice too. A little bit outside the tube. Yeah, I kind of don't skimp out on this. Makes your tube last a long time. Helps keep the tube happy inside the tire and rim assembly. And we like a happy tube. So that's pretty good right there. We'll set this off to the side again. Okay, same tire going back on. It's silly. Whatever. Whatever. That's the stupidest thing I ever do. I'll be just fine. So now you put a little slipperies on there, and I like to use a brush. I try to keep this outside the tire because you just put baby powder. I don't really want to make my baby powder all wet inside, so I just apply liberally with again, a really heavy soapy mix, so it's super slippery. I take that on there, and I rotate it on the rim a little bit like that, help it kind of butter everything up. Put that dude on. Tire irons. Get that on the drop. Get that on your. Get this part of the tire in the drop so it's lined up with the drop center of the rim. Pull that sucker on. Easy. A little too big a bite. Come back. Boom. Okay, now, same thing. Kind of rotate your tire on there so you're getting that soap all over the inside of where the tire is going to seat against the bead. Okay, now, before you butter this side, let's go ahead and, this is where you put your rim lock in. And hey, I'll even put some powder on the rim lock. Why wouldn't you? So you come in here, find our rim lock hole, right here. So this is where, if you have a rubber band in there, what I do is I take a screwdriver that's not going to poke through it, not a super sharp screwdriver, but I take a screwdriver through the hole where the rim lock goes, and I push that rubber band back, and I hold that like one hand, and then I get my other hand in here, and I get my fingers, the back of my fingers behind that rubber band, and I push it out. I push that rubber band out. And as I'm doing that, at that point, I can remove the screwdriver. Remove the screwdriver. Take the rim lock. I'm holding the rubber band back with the back of my fingers. I take this, put it in front of my fingers, and get the rubber band rest right over the top of it. This is all happening inside the tire, and then I push the whole thing out, and then I rotate it down, bring it through the hole, boom, and then I put the nut and washer on it. But I just started. I just started because you need that guy to be able to move. That's the wrong nut. Okay, just a couple threads on that dude. Okay, now it's time for your tire. Everything looks good. Make sure that's not that the bolt for that rim lock's not cocked like this or like that. You want to kind of move your tire, get that just so. Grab tube. Boom, tube's going in. Same thing, kind of shove some of that dude in there. Oh yeah, Michelin Air Stop tube. This is the burliest, best quality tube that you can buy, in my opinion. Highly recommend it. They're not giving them away. Made in France, or no, made in Spain. Excellent tube. I think they're about 30 bucks-ish. Okay, let's get this dude in there. Same thing, stick your hands in, stick your hands up in there, get a hold of that valve stem, push it through the hole. Hello, little valve stem, where are you? Come on now. Oh, it's being a bugger. Sometimes you got to push the tire down a little bit too. There it is. Okay, now just get your nut on there. Just start it, a couple threads. Your nut for your valve stem, just get that nut on there, just a couple threads. Because again, you need that thing to move. Okay, now feed your tube in. Okay, get that so it's all sitting down on sitting inside the rim. It's not up here. It's not up here. It's down inside the rim. Okay, so you got that just so. Kind of shake it around, make sure that your valve stem is coming off straight, your rim lock's coming off straight. If it's not, kind of jiggle it around and get everything to find its happy spot. Okay, now we're going to soak this up. See, I really didn't get any wet soap inside my freshly baby powdered rim or tire and tube assembly. Okay, got that, boom. Go time. I like to get right after it before it dries. Okay, so I start opposite of the valve stem and rim lock. So just get in there. Oh yeah, here's another pro tip, especially if you have a brand new tube. This is key because they're all flat. And before you start putting tire irons to this, what I do is I tighten that by hand. I tighten that valve stem nut just a little bit, just enough to put an air chuck on it, and I inflate the tube one time. Just till I see it rise. Oh, come on. Oh, don't do that. My tire valve's giving me some problems. Okay, well, we're not doing that on this one, but I highly recommend that you inflate the tube one time inside the tire and then let it relax, and that makes it round inside your tire and way less likely to pinch. So that didn't work for me with the valve stem out this time for whatever reason, I don't know, but I'm backing that nut. I've got both nuts all the way out with just a couple turns on them. Boom. Let's get back in here. Let's get this tire on here. Starting away from the valve stem and the rim lock. So if you come up with one of these barrels, it sure makes it nice to change your tires, I'll say that. Okay, as the tire starts getting close, this is where you really want to make sure you're down in the drop center of the rim. Okay, because we're closing right up on it. And if this gets super, super tight here, then you're probably not in your drop center very good. And another tip is to try to get the bottom of the rim, bottom of the tire up in that drop center also. That helps relieve tension as you try to put the last part of the tire onto the bead. So we are right there. Another little thing I do is if they're giving me trouble is I'll put a foot up here like this and hold it down and work it. So we're getting close. So you want to be able to push on this is important, super important, because you don't want your tube pinched between the bead and the rim. And there's a big thick spot right where the valve stem goes in. Same with the rim lock. You want to make sure that you can push that all the way in. Okay, because we are right there. So what I do is I'm coming to this rim lock. I'm going to try to tip it towards you folks. So I'm coming to this rim lock. I push that dude in as I'm peeling the tire over. Whoops, easy. You probably don't want to do that if you got nice anodized rims. Use those rim protectors. Okay, take that gently. Just let that fall over. Grab another bite. Sliding it, so I'm just getting a little bite. Push that rim lock in. Just it's one finger, just jumping right over. Okay, now, okay, that's in. Your rim lock's where it's supposed to be. Now come to where the valve stem's at. This is going to be the last bite on this thing. Make sure your valve stem's all the way in. I damn near just push this on with my fingers at this point. Let me get a bite. You know, in fact, I think that's what I'm going to do. Just hold that valve stem in like that. Hold that valve stem in like that. Just roll that dude on there just like that. Boom. Now you take your a nut up your valve stem, but just to where just to where your valve stem, just where you can get your air filler chuck on there. Okay, so for whatever reason it wouldn't fill. A lot of times I'll blow this up so it without the valve core in it, so that it pops out without any restriction. It really jumps on the bead. But for whatever reason, this thing air chuck wouldn't fire without a valve core in it. So either that or that thing's just completely toast. I don't know, we're gonna find out. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the valve stem in it. Valve core. And at this point, can be a good time to take and go ahead and run a little more slippery in there. You really want this thing to jump out on the bead. Same thing, both sides. Oh man, no, this is ruined. Oh. Okay, it's filling, it's taking it. Boom, there it goes, it's jumping out. Oh yeah. Okay, I got quite a bit of pressure in there right now. So now I wipe it. And I kind of observe the margins. I kind of observe the margins on here to look so I can see that it's beaded evenly all the way around. Same thing both sides. Give her a little white. Just look at the margins around here. Oh yeah, it looks good. Oh yeah, that's in a little bit there. There it goes. And if you're not happy with that, deflate the rim, deflate the tube, take the valve core back out, get some more slipperies in there. Now that's feeling pretty even now. That's good, but I got a lot of pressure in there. I don't want to damage my low pressure gauge. This one goes to 75. That's a good place to start. So I'm going to knock that down. There's 40. 35. Now I can go to my low pressure. This gauge only goes up to 20. You don't want to spike it. Oh, and I spiked it a little bit, but not enough to damage it. It's still high, but you know what? Let's wrap this video up while I still have your patience. Hopefully you're still hanging on. We're going to tighten the rim lock. And on this, I tighten these suckers really tight, really tight. I do lots of motorcycle repair video. We buy, sell, restore, resurrect, race. I do walkarounds, tutorials. I just do motorcycles. It's what I do. A lot of vintage stuff, some modern stuff, dirt, street, road race, flat track, motocross, pretty much anything motorcycles. So I get that dude really tight, damn near to where you think it's going to start pushing the rim out. Pretty tight. I think the torque spec's like 60 or something. Yeah, I'm definitely there. That's a real nice hard spot. So that tire is pinched on the rim really nice. I don't even mess around with that, because if you're wrong, you're going to get a flat. There's another pro tip. My last pro tip. When you put your valve cap on, some people run this nut against the rim. I'm one of them guys that runs it against the valve cap. That way, if it does try to drag your tube, you're going to be able to see it. You're going to be able to see that your valve stem's crooked and make a correction before you lose a tire, before you get a flat. Okay, that's it. I think we're solid here. I'll set the tire pressures. I like to run, this weekend I'm going to run about 12. Anyway, thank you for watching my video. Appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, comment. I'll answer all your comments. Thank you. Have a nice day.